Have you ever sat in silence and asked yourself, why does my joy feel like a shadow chasing after someone else's footsteps? A missed call, a delayed heart notification, or just a hesitant nod can sometimes be enough to drag you into a whirlwind of anxiety. That feeling may seem harmless, but in truth, it's like for invisible walls. The irony is that the one holding the key isn't anyone else, it's you. So how much longer do you plan to let your heart float helplessly in the winds of others' whims? In this video, I want to give you a new compass, a simple yet powerful map that can lead you out of the maze of dependence. This isn't about encouraging you to retreat into a proud cocoon or build cold barriers. What we're aiming for is emotional independence, a quiet strength that no storm of public opinion or judgmental gaze can sweep away. Together, we will open the door to 11 keys passed down by the Stoic philosophers. Though time has worn down many great monuments, these keys still shine as brightly as the day they were forged, defying all changes of the human world. Are you ready? If your answer is yes, then pull your paddle out of its dusty sheath and begin your own journey across the lake right now. The first step may sound obvious, but it is the root of every step that follows. Become the hero of your own life. Picture yourself sitting in a kayak on a calm lake. The water smooth like glass. The paddle lies right beside you, glistening in the early sunlight. Yet you still insist on waiting for someone to appear and gently push the boat ashore. Sound familiar? The bitter but liberating truth is this: no one is coming to save you. Not because they don't care, not because the world lacks generous hearts, but simply because this responsibility is yours. The paddle, the current, the direction, it's all in your hands. Ask yourself, did Tony Stark sit around waiting for some unknown engineer to hand him the Iron Man suit? The obvious answer is no. He rolled up his sleeves, burned through long nights in his lab, and wore the suit he forged himself. You are the same. You already have all the materials to design your own armor. The only question is whether you're willing to flip the switch and act. The philosopher Epictetus once emphasized, happiness or unhappiness does not depend on what you possess, where you are, or what others think of you. It all comes down to what you think. If in your thoughts you insist that only when others extend a hand to save you can you smile, then in that very moment you've locked yourself in a cage of fear. On the contrary, when you realize that joy lies at your fingertips, the foundation of happiness suddenly feels as solid as a rock amidst the waves. Allow me to share a very real story, a memory I once hesitated to recall, but now treasure deeply. It was a time when my relationship was in turmoil. Every night, I waited desperately for my phone to ring, for friends to text and check in, for someone to show up and magically pull me out of my feeling of failure. But the screen stayed dark. The inbox remained silent. Day after day, I sank. Like a drifter at sea, eyes fixed on a distant horizon, hoping for a miracle ship to appear. Then one rainy afternoon, by chance, I flipped open an old book, its dog-eared page printed with Stoic philosophy. Suddenly, the room seemed to brighten. Have you ever experienced that light switch moment when the light turns on and you clearly see your hand holding the key you've long been too afraid to turn, I closed the book, took a deep breath, and decided to step out of the victim role. I wrote down 3 things I could do right away. First, call and apologize to myself for abandoning me for so long. Second, create a morning habit of running and watching the sunrise, just to remind myself that the sun rises whether I'm happy or sad. Third, set a small daily goal. Write a short journal entry about a moment of gratitude. That's all, and yet, strangely enough, the emptiness began to fade like early morning mist, as you can see. The key is not far away when you believe that you deserve to row the boat. A favorable wind will suddenly appear when you dare to change your mindset. Opportunities will knock on your door, sometimes in the simplest forms: a book, a podcast, or even this very video. What matters is not the tool itself, but your initiative. Will you decide to lay the first brick of your launch pad, or will you keep waiting for the right time? That is entirely your choice. Returning to the 11 keys of Stoicism, you will gradually see that every emotional knot on life's path can be untied by short, sharp whispers that pierce straight to the core. Emotional independence does not turn you into a cold stone. It makes your heart steady, strong enough to love without carrying the burden of expectations. Like a deep forest, where the roots of trees interlace to form a system that resists storms, you are independent but not alone. You stand on your own 2 feet, yet still open your heart to share and love. Imagine a windy afternoon. You set foot on a mountaintop after a long, grueling climb. In that moment, without anyone clapping, your chest already vibrates with pride. That is the reward for those who know how to steer their own life when others applaud. You smile and nod. When they turn away, your inner light does not dim, because the power that fuels that light lies within your own heart, not plugged into any external outlet. That said, the road to emotional independence is not a bed of roses. There will be times you stumble, feel out of battery. There will be days when strong winds tip your boat. So what will you do? Will you throw the paddle into the water and cry? Or will you lift your head, fix your posture, and keep rowing? That question I'll leave to you to answer, because it is that very decision that reveals your true character. By now, I believe you've kindled the first flame. Let that fire burn brighter with the remaining 10 keys from the Stoic philosophers. Each key is a layer of armor, a door to a new perspective, and most importantly, a step that brings you closer to the shore of peace. Are you curious what those keys actually are? Do you want to know how to turn theory into practice in each breath of daily life? If your heart just stirred a little, that is a wonderful sign, because in this very moment, you've taken 1 foot out of your comfort zone toward the journey of true freedom. And what could be more exciting than the fact that our adventure doesn't stop here? Right on page 2, I will guide you to unlock the next key, along with small exercises to help you. Practice every day. Ready to continue? Let's turn the next page and explore together. It was that afternoon as I sat quietly by the window, rain tapping on the glass, when I suddenly realized I had been heading the wrong way. It is not the responsibility of friends, family, or anyone else to rush in and rescue me from the swamp of discouragement. That responsibility, that power, belongs to me. That moment felt like someone had removed a blindfold I'd worn for years, letting the first beam of sunlight shine into my foggy mind. I looked around and saw countless tools already available, accumulated experience, materials I had once read, the courage still sleeping quietly inside me. And yet, until that day, I had never touched them. One of the most precious tools came from the name Walter Riso. This psychologist constantly reminds the world that true happiness is never a gift from someone else's hand. He wrote that the need to be accepted is like a chronic illness. When we place our self-worth on the scale of the crowd, we unknowingly hand that measurement to someone else. As long as they shake their heads, we continue to sway. That reality is as clear as midday light. During all those years of desperately begging for validation, I had actually handed over the steering wheel of my life and quietly curled up as a passenger. Bitterly, no journey can ever head in the direction we dream of if the driver is not ourselves. If you find yourself lost in such a situation, try to small steps that can still shift the rudder. The first step is to fully accept responsibility for every decision. Don't confuse this with self-blame. Owning responsibility is different from self-reproach. It's like standing before a garden overrun with weeds, not to criticize yourself for being careless, but to understand that the shovel is waiting in the shed, and you are fully capable of clearing the mess. Each morning, ask yourself, what will I actively do today to improve my situation? It might be sending an apology email, adding 10 more minutes to your workout, or simply turning off your phone to avoid negative news. No action is too small. Each one nudges the wheel forward. The second step is to sow the seed of self-affirmation. Take a few moments when the sun first rises or during the quiet of night to remind yourself with short, powerful phrases. I am enough, or I hold the power to change my life. Don't treat this as empty slogans. With each repetition, you water the roots of confidence. At first, the sprout may seem like a fragile speck of green, but over time it grows into a sturdy tree, its branches shielding your heart from the harsh sun of doubt. When these 2 steps become habit, you'll be astonished to discover that the hero you've been searching for has always been there, just waiting for your nod to step out of the shadows. You don't need a savior, because every material needed to build your dream life already exists within you. The only thing missing is unwavering belief and consistent action. Now we arrive at the second shield in the journey of independence: emotional regulation. Have you ever felt like a pressure cooker about to blow, hissing and steaming, just waiting for the lid to burst? When you let your emotions boil over, it's as if you've handed someone else the key to your peace. A careless word or a contemptuous glance can easily throw your inner compass off for the entire day. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor who faced wars and betrayals, once wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." Imagine constantly pouring sadness, anger, and despair into your mind, how gray your whole day would look. But if instead you use the warm orange of gratitude and the cool green of hope, how much brighter would your mental canvas become? Marcus Aurelius couldn't control every event, but he always held the power to color his thoughts. If he were standing before you today, he would likely smile and say, "Managing emotion is a privilege. Don't let it go to waste." Let's recall a very ordinary situation. You're driving through the city after a long, exhausting day at work when suddenly a car cuts in front of you, forcing you to slam on the brakes. Your heart races, sweat breaks out. In a flash, you want to pound the steering wheel and shout through the window. Familiar image, isn't it? Now, try putting on the Stoic armor. You take a deep breath, relax your shoulders, and ask yourself, is this impulsive reaction worth ruining my evening? The answer, more often than not, will be no. You steady the wheel, continue your journey, and keep your inner sky calm. That's not suppression. Because the anger is acknowledged, it's just that you don't let it do the driving. You're the one holding the wheel. Emotional control is easy to say, harder to practice. Here are a few simple suggestions to help. You turn down the heat whenever the emotional steam rises. First, name the emotion like identifying a guest. When frustration rises, instead of growling, gently say, this is anger. Naming it helps pull the emotion down from the driver's seat. Second, breathe deeply and slowly. Inhale for 4 counts, hold for 2, exhale for 6. The oxygen cycle is a life raft pulling you out of the chaos. Third, redirect your attention toward constructive action. It could be sipping cool water, taking a few steps, or playing your favorite music. When your body is engaged in positive behavior, negative emotion begins to weaken. Fourth, write down your thoughts. A blank page is quiet yet patient, allowing you to release noisy words instead of erupting at someone else. After you put down the pen, you might be surprised to see the crashing waves shrink into ripples. These techniques are not mysterious weapons. They are tools you can carry with you everywhere, like a multi-purpose knife in a travel kit. Only through regular practice will you truly feel their quiet strength. The calmness you once thought was a luxury is actually always within reach. Once you master your emotions, you will suddenly find that insults, judgmental stares, or external turmoil all pass by like a torrential rain falling on a tiled roof. The rain may make noise, but beneath that shelter, you're still making tea, reading a book, smiling in peace. This does not turn you into an unfeeling block of wood. On the contrary, it enables you to respond instead of react, to choose rather than be swept away. At this point, you may ask yourself, so when the emotional storm gets too strong, am I allowed to seek support? Of course you are. True strength lies in knowing when to ask for help without turning it into a crutch of dependence. Picture yourself as a mountain climber already equipped with protective gear. If you come across a slippery path, you clip your carabiner into the anchor. But the safety rope is just support. It doesn't take each step for you. Every move forward is still your decision. In short, the first key teaches us to take the lead in our lives. And the second key trains us to steer our emotions through every unexpected turn. These two pieces interlock into a firm foundation: personal responsibility coupled with inner peace. when you take proactive action and manage your emotional flow at the same time. You not only remain steady through storms, but also gain enough clarity to see where the next shore lies. Sounds simple, doesn't it? But in reality, being alone is sometimes the greatest mental challenge. It's like a phone panicking because its battery is about to die, desperately searching for a power outlet. You rush around looking for someone, an activity, a social media notification just to fill the emptiness inside. And while you're busy searching for external energy sources, you forget the most important thing. You already have everything you need to keep going within yourself. Learning to be alone is not a punishment. It is a superpower. Once you master this skill, you become not only free, but powerful in a way no one can take away from you. Let me tell you a story I'll never forget. It's a heartfelt confession from the famous singer Budianti. He said the hardest part of his career wasn't the pressure from interviews or the packed tour schedules, but the moment after the spotlight fades. When the applause stops, the audience has left, and he returns to his hotel room, a space so silent it chills the bones. He said those moments felt like falling into a void. No one there to tell you how amazing you are. No cheers. No stage lights to remind you of your worth. In that empty room, he picked up his phone, turned on the TV, tried everything not to face himself. Have you ever felt that way? You don't need to be famous to understand it. It's the feeling you get after a long, exhausting day when you come home to no one greeting you, no one listening. You open social media, hoping someone messaged you, or maybe just liked your post. But when nothing happens, you start to feel empty. Budianti realized something. Relying on others to feel okay is not just a habit, it's a trap. Because what happens if one day there's no one there? If you need someone else to tell you you're worthy, then you will always be waiting. And as you know, waiting can be endlessly exhausting. But the beautiful part is that he didn't stay trapped in that place. He chose to change. He learned to embrace moments of solitude, to sit quietly with himself without discomfort, and even started to enjoy it. He listened to himself, appreciated himself, without needing applause or external validation. And he realized one extremely important truth: if you can't feel at peace with yourself, then you will never truly be free. You see, it's not just you or me. Even celebrities, people seemingly adored by the whole world, have had to face loneliness. And if they could overcome it, then so can you. So how can you truly learn to be alone? Here are a few practices you can start today. 1. Set aside a moment each day just to be with yourself. No phone, no TV, no music, just you and the space around you. It could be in the quiet of early morning or late evening before bed. At first, it will feel uncomfortable. You'll want to do something, anything, to distract yourself. But be patient. You are building a relationship with yourself. 2. Write down your thoughts. Get a small notebook and spend a few minutes each day writing about your emotions, desires, fears, or anything else on your mind. You're not writing to impress, you're writing to understand. Like talking to a best friend, only this time that friend is you. 3. Practice doing things alone. Go to a movie by yourself. have lunch on your own, take a walk in the park. Not because there's no one to go with, but to show yourself that you don't need company to enjoy life. Treat these moments as dates with yourself. 4. Identify and challenge false beliefs. Many people believe, if I'm alone, I'm worthless or abandoned. Ask yourself, is that really true? Or is it just a fear of isolation that society has planted in us? In reality, being alone is a chance to clarify who you are, what you want, and where you're going. You don't need a crowd to feel valuable. You don't need constant feedback to know you're on the right path. And you don't need anyone else to teach you how to feel peace in your own heart. Imagine yourself as a captain at sea. The waves may rise high, the wind may howl, and the skies may darken. But you keep your hands firmly on the wheel, because you know that ship belongs to you, and only you can steer it. That is true freedom. That is real strength. Before moving to the next part, if you found this content valuable, don't forget to subscribe and become an exclusive member to receive more in-depth insights. And I'd love to hear from you. What will you do today to become more independent and closer to the strongest version of yourself? Share your thoughts in the comments. We're walking this meaningful journey together. The good news is that you absolutely can learn how to be with yourself. And the beautiful part is, the sooner you begin, the stronger and more complete you become. Because when you become your own best companion, you no longer need anyone else to fill the empty spaces. Those empty spaces, they were never real to begin with. As the philosopher Seneca once said, the wise person is self-sufficient. It sounds ideal, maybe even deeply inspiring. But let's be honest, in reality, it's not always easy. If you've never practiced being alone, even a little free time can feel like a silent struggle. Have you ever experienced this? Just 5 minutes of downtime, and you instinctively reach for your phone to scroll. Or when you have a free afternoon, you suddenly start cleaning the house, organizing drawers, wiping down things that didn't need to be cleaned. Not because you're busy, but because you're avoiding your own thoughts. It's a little sad, isn't it? But don't worry, you are not alone in feeling that way. So today, I want you to do something different. Plan a day just for yourself. No social media, no friends, no family, no distractions. Just you. Treat it like a special date with someone important, and that someone is you. What will you do on that date? Maybe take a slow walk down familiar streets. Visit a place you've always wanted to go, but no one ever wanted to join you. Or simply sit in a quiet cafe, sip your coffee, read a few pages, or write a few lines of thought. And more importantly, pay attention to how you feel in those moments. Don't judge, just observe. You might feel sad, awkward, or empty, but it's also very possible you'll feel calm, relieved, and more connected to yourself than ever before. Because once you learn how to be with yourself, the way you see the world will completely change. You'll no longer feel like you have to chase someone, try to keep up, or cling to something to fill a sense of lack. Instead, you'll realize that the emptiness you were trying so hard to fill never truly existed. You've always had everything you need within yourself. From that point on, Anything that comes from outside becomes a bonus, not a necessity. Love, compliments, the presence of others, they are all beautiful, but no longer essential for you to feel whole. So next time you find yourself restlessly searching for something or someone to distract you from yourself, remember this: you don't need more than yourself to feel complete. And that brings us to the fourth key on the journey to emotional independence: letting go of what is weighing you down. Imagine walking with an enormous backpack on your shoulders. Inside are tightly packed commitments you never truly wanted, a meeting you couldn't say no to, a favor you couldn't decline, phone calls and messages you didn't want to deal with, but answered anyway. And it doesn't stop there within. Your circle of friends are people who only bring drama, chaos, or negativity. They rarely care how you feel, yet always expect your presence by default. And every day, you repeat the same vague habits, hours scrolling on your phone, postponing important decisions, letting the noise of the outside world dictate your thoughts and emotions. And buried beneath it all are quiet fears, the whispered voices inside your head whenever you think about changing. What if I mess it up? What if people don't agree? Am I even good enough to begin? It's like being trapped in an invisible net, struggling endlessly without breaking free. But you know what? No one else put that net there. You are the one holding it in place. Take a moment and reflect on this. You are carrying more than you need. Relationships that no longer support your growth. Commitments that exhaust you. Fears that keep you stuck. And habits that silently pull you backward every day. It's like trying to run a marathon in a scuba suit. You sweat, you push yourself, but you can't get very far. So the question is, how much longer will you keep going like this? By now, you've probably started to feel that letting go does not mean giving up. Letting go is making space for something better. It's giving yourself permission to breathe, to live, to move forward. In the next section, we will explore how to face and release each of those unnecessary safety straps. From learning how to say no with confidence to identifying what truly matters to you, and from there, freeing yourself from everything that's been holding you back. Let me say this clearly: letting go is not easy. I know that. I've been there. I've felt it. Some things cling to you like a part of your body, a relationship, a belief, a habit, and the thought of releasing it can feel like trying to tear off a piece of yourself. But you know what? Even though it's not easy, letting go is completely possible. And more than that, it's one of the most liberating things you will ever do for yourself. It's like the feeling of coming home after a long, exhausting day and finally taking off a pair of shoes that have been squeezing your feet in pain. That moment feels like lifting 1,000 pounds off your soul. Letting go of toxic relationships, useless fears, and sluggish habits is like taking off those shoes. Only the relief multiplies 1,000 times over. My friend, you may not want to hear this, but someone has to say it, and I'm willing to be that person. You cannot control whether others appreciate you or not. You cannot force toxic people to change. You cannot make every situation go the way you want. So, what can you control? Your reaction. The way you choose to let go of what weighs you down every day. As the philosopher Epictetus once taught, we do not control the actions of others, only our own. And he was absolutely right. As long as you keep clinging to things you cannot change, you are giving someone else the power to control your life. So pause for a moment and ask yourself, who is in charge here? The answer must be, I am. So how do you learn to let go? Start with a simple yet powerful exercise. Divide your worries and thoughts into 2 lists. List 1. Things you can control: your decisions, your daily actions, how you spend your time, how you speak to others, how you take care of yourself. List 2. Things outside your control: other people's emotions, the unchangeable past, unsolicited opinions, invisible expectations placed upon you. Then, look at the second list and say clearly, this is not mine to carry. I release it. Because if you cannot change it, why are you carrying it with you every day? Focus on the first list, the things you do have control over. That is where your freedom lies. And I'm not just talking about worries. Think about the relationships that leave you feeling worse after every interaction. The person who only comes to you when they have a problem but never asks how you are. The partner who doesn't respect you. Or the friends you have to perform around just to keep the peace. If even thinking about engaging with them makes you uneasy, then take action. Step outside. Strike up a conversation with someone new. Do something different. Discomfort can only be defeated by action, not by circling endlessly in thought. And more important than anything, learn to revisit your discomfort. Instead of seeing it as a red flag, start seeing it as a sign of growth. Have you ever gone to the gym? When you lift weights, your muscles ache. But you know, that's a sign they're growing. Emotions work the same way. If something makes you scared, challenged, or uneasy, there's a good chance it's helping you grow. So the next time you feel fear, confusion, or resistance, pause for a second and whisper to yourself, this is part of the process. This means I'm growing. Now ask yourself, which will you choose? Temporary comfort or long-term growth? The difference between where you are today and where you want to be lies in the things you have not yet dared to do. And when you force yourself to step into discomfort, when you stop waiting for it to disappear and learn instead to move forward with it, you become unstoppable. So, what will you do today to step outside your comfort zone and move closer to the person you want to become? Now, let's move on to one of the most powerful invisible walls that many of us don't even realize is there. Doing things only for the applause. Picture this. You've just finished giving a speech, or performed a song, or presented a project you spent weeks preparing. You step off the stage, and there is no applause, no praise, no feedback. How would you feel? If you're like most people, you'd probably feel deflated, disappointed, confused, because throughout our lives, we've been conditioned to believe success only has value if it is recognized. That if no one claps, if no one applauds, then what you did wasn't worth much. But here's what I want to tell you. If you only do things for the applause, then you are building your life on a foundation that will not hold. Marcus Aurelius made this clear centuries ago. Perform every act as if it were your last. Pay attention, he didn't say, do it only if you'll be praised or if others approve. He simply said, act as if it were the final time. Why? Because the true reward is not in public applause. It lies in the quiet satisfaction within your mind, knowing you gave your best. If every step you take depends on someone else's approval, if every task requires acceptance from others to feel valid, then you are not truly free. You are chained to others' opinions. You act not to live true to yourself, but to please, to fit in, to be liked. But there will come a day when the lights go out, the stage empties, and people turn away. And in that moment, the only question you will face is, am I proud of what I did? Think of a student who stays up all night studying. They work hard, prepare thoroughly, push past their limits. The exam day comes, and they do brilliantly, but no one notices. No one congratulates them. Not a single word of praise. Does that mean all their effort was worthless? For many people, sadly, the answer is yes. Because they tied their sense of worth to external validation. But for those who understand the real key to success, the answer is no. Because the greatest achievement is not the grade or the compliment. It is this: you kept your promise to yourself. Now, I want you to take a few minutes and think deeply. Why do you do the things you do? What truly motivates your daily effort? If your answer is to be recognized by others, then, my friend, you may be heading the wrong way. Simon Sinek explained this very clearly. When you work only for recognition, you become a slave to approval. Let that sink in. True success is not in the applause. It is in doing what you love, with discipline and persistence, even when no one is watching. So, how do you apply this mindset in real life? First, spend time reflecting. What truly motivates me? If your answer comes from within, like a desire to grow, to live aligned with your values, or to positively impact others, then nothing can stop you. Second, learn to find fulfillment in the process, not just the result. Imagine this: you finish a passion project and no one notices. Would you still feel proud? If the answer is no, it's time to shift your perspective. When you learn to appreciate your own work, even without applause, you become unshakable. Remember this: if you start doing things for yourself, to grow each day, for reasons that matter, then no matter what happens, you've already won. And here's something just as important that many people often forget: becoming better is not selfish. Let me ask you, have you ever felt guilty for wanting to improve yourself? Maybe you took time for yourself to read, to learn a new skill, to take care of your health, and then someone said, "You're so self-centered. You should care more about others." And so you started to doubt, am I being selfish? But listen closely to this. Investing in yourself is not selfish. It is the only way you can truly help others. Seneca said this centuries ago. Because you cannot pour into others from an empty cup. Picture yourself on an airplane. When cabin pressure drops, the oxygen masks fall. Do you remember the instruction? Put your own mask on first, then help others. Not because you're selfish, but because you can't save anyone else if you're gasping for air. You need time to recover. You need space to grow. You need to invest in your mind, your emotions, your health, and your boundaries. And sometimes that also means facing the fear of rejection. Did you know that one of the most powerful ways to grow is by accepting rejection without losing your sense of worth? There was a guy who once shared his story. At first, he was terrified of saying no. He always went to parties he didn't want to attend, said yes to every invitation simply because he was afraid of disappointing others. Then one day, he decided to start changing, beginning with small things. Choosing the restaurant for a date, declining a gathering that didn't feel right. At first, it was really uncomfortable, but then he realized saying no isn't as bad as I thought. And more importantly, it doesn't define who I am. So, how can you build this skill? I have a small challenge for you. Walk into a store and ask for a discount even if you have no reason. Yes, you read that right, ask for a discount. They might say no. In fact, they probably will. But you'll learn something priceless. Rejection doesn't destroy you. It's just a natural part of life. And every time you push through that discomfort, you grow a little more. Because the difference between where you are now and where you want to be lies in the things you haven't dared to do. Start with that challenge. Walk into a store and ask for a discount without any reason. What happens? Nothing. You're still okay. You're still you. No one took away your worth just because they said no. In fact, you've just done something most people are too afraid to try. You accepted rejection and moved through it like an adult. Now, level up the challenge. Dare to speak on a topic you usually avoid because you're afraid of disagreement. Have the courage to say no the next time someone asks you to do something you don't really want to do. These may sound small, right? But don't underestimate them. Every time you face the fear of rejection, you weaken its grip. Every time you act despite the risk of not being accepted, you expand the boundaries of your personal freedom. So, which challenge will you start with? I'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below the video. Tell me what you dared to do, something you used to fear. And above all, remember this, my friend. You don't need anyone's approval to be happy. Learn to accept that rejection is a natural part of life. It doesn't define you. It has no power to hurt you unless you let it. Who cares if someone disagrees with you? Who cares if they don't accept you? That doesn't change your real worth. And here's the beautiful thing that happens when you stop fearing rejection. You begin to live more honestly. You feel freer. You no longer need anyone to validate your value, because you already know you are enough. And that, my friend, is priceless. 6. Learn to say no. I know, it sounds simple, but for many people, this is the hardest skill in the journey toward emotional maturity. Do you know why? Because we're taught that saying no is selfish, cold, and inconsiderate. And the result? You let others invade your time, energy, and mental space as if it were automatic. Imagine your time is like a special party, and you are the one in charge of the guest list. But instead of checking carefully, you let anyone in, bringing drama, trash, and energy drains with them. At the end of the day, you feel exhausted, wondering, why is there nothing left for me? Listen to me. Learning to say no is not selfish. It is a necessary filter to protect the most valuable thing you have, your life. It's how you decide what is truly worthy of your attention, your presence, and your energy. And most importantly, you don't need anyone to validate the value of your life. You are the only one who decides who gets to be on your guest list. No one else. Every time you say yes to something you don't want to do, you are saying no to your time, your mental well-being, and the things that truly matter to you. Seneca said it very clearly. Nothing is more valuable than your time, because it is the one thing you can never get back. So why is it still so hard for us to set boundaries? Because we're afraid of disappointing others. We're afraid of being misunderstood. Afraid of being labeled as selfish, even if that means betraying ourselves. I used to be that way too. I remember once, a friend asked me to help organize a big event. I didn't have the time. I didn't want to, but I still said yes. Why? Because I was afraid. I thought, what will he think if I say no? What if he feels bad? So I agreed. I rearranged my whole schedule, spent sleepless nights preparing. Then on the day of the event, that friend came over and whispered, with a worried look, "We're short on food budget. Could you cover it?" I didn't have the courage to say no. I pulled out my card and paid. And you know what? I didn't feel good. I didn't feel satisfied. I didn't feel proud. I felt betrayed, not by my friend, but by myself. I had let myself down, simply because I couldn't say no. And the lesson I learned from that experience? It wasn't about money. It was about boundaries. My friend, if you don't set boundaries for yourself, others will have no hesitation crossing them. If you don't choose what's worthy of your time, then anything and everything will flood into your life. Remember this. You are not obligated to sacrifice yourself just to make others comfortable. You don't need to say yes to be liked. Every time you have the courage to say no, you are saying yes to yourself. Imagine your time, energy, and money as precious water in the middle of a desert. You cannot give it away unconditionally, endlessly, or carelessly. Because if you keep draining yourself to please others, one day that well will run dry. And the truth is, no one is coming to refill it for you. Picture this: a family member, the kind who always assumes you owe them help calls. This time, they want you to take their car to the shop and walk home because they don't have time. What do you do? Before you instinctively say sure, okay, pause. Ask yourself, does this matter to me? Do I actually have the time? Do I genuinely want to do this? If the answer is no, then it's time to practice a critically important life skill: saying no directly, but politely. You don't have to snap or be rude. You don't need a long list of justifications either. Just say, "I'm sorry, but I can't do that today." And if they push, stand firm. I understand this is important to you, but this time I truly can't help. It might feel a bit uncomfortable at first. You might feel guilty, but the more you practice, the more relief you'll feel. And most importantly, you'll begin to feel free. Many people confuse saying no with selfishness, but the truth is, saying no is how you prioritize what truly matters to you. Remember, saying no is not closing a door. It's opening space for yourself. So next time someone asks you to do something you can't or don't want to do, pause, take a deep breath, and say no with confidence, clarity, and self-respect. Trust me, when you do this, you will feel stronger, freer, and more at peace with yourself. 7. Find peace in stillness. I want you to close your eyes for a moment or simply imagine. You are sitting by a calm lake at dawn. The surface is still as glass, reflecting a sky slowly turning soft pink and golden yellow. There is no wind, no noise, just the gentle song of a distant bird breaking the sacred silence. You feel the cool touch of dew-covered grass beneath your feet. You take a deep breath, filling your lungs with fresh, pure air. And as you exhale, all the tension begins to dissolve as if it never existed. Peace, complete, whole. In that moment, you are no one, no roles, no responsibilities, no worries. You simply exist, and that is enough. Stillness here is not the absence of things. Stillness is presence, awake and luminous. Everything feels like it is in its right place. I can imagine Marcus Aurelius, emperor of the vast Roman Empire, sitting beside such a lake, far from the noise of Rome. No guards, no advisors, no battles, just him, the water, and his own thoughts. Perhaps in that moment, he recalled his own words. Think of what you have, not what you lack. Marcus Aurelius understood what many of us forget. The noise outside will never fully disappear. But if you learn to find peace within, nothing outside can truly shake you. Let me tell you a story that sounds like it came from a movie, but it's completely real. A young German entrepreneur who had everything: wealth, fame, recognition, a life most people dream of. But inside, he felt empty, lost in the endless noise from phones, emails, the pressure to succeed, and the invisible weight of expectations. And then, he did something that shocked everyone. He gave it all up. He left his job, the city, even his reputation, to live in a Zen monastery deep in the forests of Newell, Germany. No one understood why, but he did. He wasn't searching for quiet on the outside. He was seeking to find himself again. In the silence and solitude, he found what he had always been searching for: peace, not the kind that money or status can buy, but the relief of no longer needing to run, the serenity of no longer needing to prove anything to anyone. Because when the noise fades, you begin to hear your true inner voice. And once you hear it, you'll realize that everything you truly need has been within you all along. Peace can be found in everyday life, through small and deeply simple actions. Want to know how? Start by spending a few minutes each day meditating in silence. And don't worry, meditation isn't complicated, and it's not only for monks. Find a quiet place, sit comfortably, close your eyes or soften your gaze. Focus on your breath, feel the air moving in and out. Let your thoughts float by like clouds in a vast sky. Just observe them without judgment, without getting attached. This is like giving your mind a break, a much-needed pause from the chaos of everyday life. Even 5 minutes a day can make a powerful difference, helping you return to balance and clarity. Here's another simple yet powerful practice: mindful walking. Take a walk, but this time with no specific destination. Leave your phone behind. No headphones. Just walk. Feel your feet gently press against the ground. Listen to the sounds around you, the rustle of leaves, the song of birds, the whisper of the wind. Notice the scent in the air, the dampness of the earth and the trees. Allow yourself to be fully present in that moment, not drifting into the past or future. Trust me, it's like recharging your emotional battery without relying on anything external. Remember this: stillness is not emptiness, it is where you find the answers. When you learn to find peace in stillness, you'll discover that you don't need anyone else to feel whole. Everything you've been searching for has always been within you, my friend. Yes. You heard that right, it's within you. 8. Build strength in times of hardship. There is a story passed down about a young warrior after a devastating storm. His world lay in ruins, the fields, the village, the homes all destroyed. Standing amidst the wreckage, his hands trembled. He saw a heavy, broken beam from a collapsed temple. He wanted to lift it, to begin rebuilding. He bent down, clenched his teeth, pushed with all his strength, but it wouldn't move. His muscles weakened. The beam didn't budge. Exhausted, he collapsed, eyes fixed on the ground. Overwhelmed by failure. All he saw was destruction and loss. Just then, his teacher appeared, calm and steady. The teacher watched silently for a moment, then said, "Do you think this is your end?" The young warrior shook his head, eyes still on the ground. The teacher continued, "No, this is only the beginning. Adversity doesn't come to destroy you, it comes to teach you. Today you cannot lift that beam because you are not yet strong enough. But if you train, if you choose to face your pain and try again each day, you won't just lift the beam, you will raise the entire village. But only if you choose not to give up." Remember those words. Adversity does not come to destroy you, but to teach you. And that truth can change everything. The young warrior understood. He stood up, trained, and tried again. Day by day, he faced weakness, setbacks, but never gave up. Each effort, each attempt made him stronger. And eventually, he did it. He lifted the beam. But more than that, his strength became the force that helped rebuild everything his village had lost. Now I want to ask you, how many times have you felt like that young warrior, as if the weight of life was simply too much to bear? But listen closely. The issue is not that you can't do something today, it's whether you choose to learn from it, so that you can become stronger tomorrow. To Seneca, adversity was the fire that forges a person. It is like tempering a blade of steel. A sword cannot become strong unless it endures heat, and hammering. Neither can you. Every challenge, every blow, every hard moment is not just an obstacle, it is part of your transformation. Think of it like this. Have you ever felt afraid to go to the doctor? Worried you might receive bad news? Even just thinking about the appointment can paralyze you. But one day, you choose to face that fear. You go, you listen, and even if the diagnosis isn't what you hoped, you realize you can handle it. That small act of facing your fear is how you add another layer of steel to your inner blade. Don't wait for life to knock you down before you start building your strength. The key is to prepare before the blow comes. How? Let me introduce you to a powerful tool. the practice of negative visualization. At first, this may sound pessimistic, imagining the worst-case scenario. But don't misunderstand. This isn't to make you afraid. It's to prepare your mind for the unexpected. Think of something you fear losing, maybe your job, a family conflict, or bad health news. Now take it a step further. Ask yourself, if this really happened, what would I do? How would I continue? How would I face it? This exercise is like a mental rehearsal. It softens the emotional blow if the worst does happen. Because when you've faced it in your mind, you begin to realize that whatever happens, you can endure it. Ultimately, real strength is not found in avoiding problems, it's found in facing them with calm and resolve. So next time life tests you, be the young warrior, the one who was first brought to his knees, but who, with each strike and challenge, discovered a new strength within. You don't need anyone else to lift you, because that strength has always been within you, just waiting for you to give it the chance to shine. Are you ready to uncover it? 9. Give meaning to what you do. Imagine you're reading a book about a main character who leads an ordinary life. Their day starts with an alarm clock ringing. They wake up, have a rushed breakfast, and hurry out the door. Throughout the day, they complete mundane tasks and obligations. Returning home, they eat a quick dinner and collapse onto the sofa. Day after day, week after week. Would this book captivate you? The answer is likely no, as it would be extremely dull. But wait, pause and reflect. That main character is you. We're talking about your life, the only story you truly live. And here's the crucial question. When was the last time you stopped to ask yourself, why am I doing all this? Because, my friend, if you're merely existing and not truly living, you're missing out on genuine life. And the remarkable thing is, you don't need anyone else to give meaning to your life. That's your own mission. Living without purpose is like sailing without a compass. You're drifting with the current, never truly reaching where you want to go. Even worse, you rely on others to tell you what to do, how to do it, and why you should do it. Aren't you tired of that? Open your eyes. You don't need anyone else to tell you. Have you ever asked yourself, is my life following my own path, or am I just swept along by others' desires and expectations? Can you imagine Marcus Aurelius, the great emperor of the Roman Empire, simply drifting along, doing what others wanted without knowing why? Certainly not. He acted with clear purpose, and that gave meaning to his life amid immense responsibilities. As an emperor, Marcus Aurelius still found the time and clarity to embed a saying we should remember: do every act of your life as if it were your last. Imagine a person whose every decision affects millions, yet who still finds time and clarity to give meaning to even the smallest actions. Trust me, if he could do it, so can you. Did you know finding your life's purpose doesn't just make your days better? According to research published in Psychological Science, people who find their reason for living are not only happier, but also live longer. They have a 30% lower risk of heart disease. Isn't that amazing? This alone is enough for you to realize that finding your life's purpose is incredibly worthwhile. How about you? Perhaps you're thinking, how can I find my life's purpose? It sounds like something only enlightened people can do, right? Relax. You don't have to be a monk or have any divine enlightenment to discover it. Let me share a few simple steps you can start right now. Trust me, it's much easier than you think. First, make a list of things you enjoy doing, activities where you lose track of time. Perhaps you like writing, cooking, or helping others. Big or small, write them all down. Second, think about things you're good at. Ask yourself, what natural talents do I have? What do others usually seek my help with? Even if you're not yet confident you're an expert, surely there are things you do better than others. Add them to your list. Finally, connect those to lists. Find the intersection of activities you both enjoy and excel at. That intersection is your key, your starting point for giving meaning to what you do. And remember, it doesn't have to be something monumental. Even small actions can have a significant impact if done with clear purpose. When you find meaning in what you do, even the smallest things become valuable. You no longer need others to show you the way because you choose the path yourself. So, my friend, stop living mechanically and start living each day purposefully, because when you do, you'll discover immense power. You don't need anyone else to find your path. Everything you need has always been inside you. 10. Let happiness depend on yourself. Imagine your happiness as a garden full of fresh flowers, vibrant greenery, and inviting little paths leading to tranquility. This garden requires daily care. If you don't water it or weed it, what do you think will happen? Exactly, it will wither. Happiness is similar. It's not something you find externally, nor something someone else can give you. It's something you build and nurture within yourself each day. Marcus Aurelius once put it simply yet profoundly: the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. This ancient advice has never been more relevant today. Why? Because we live in a world full of dream sellers, trying to convince you that you need something external to be happy. Advertisements promise a perfume bottle will change your life. Social media influencers claim they have the ultimate recipe for perfect happiness. But listen clearly, it's all a trap. It's how they make you believe you need them to be happy. Let me share something few dare to openly say. Everything you've heard about happiness, material things, miraculous methods, or recognition from others doesn't provide lasting fulfillment. Your happiness isn't external. It entirely depends on you. Therapist Gito Diaz once said, "Happiness does not lie in what's around you, but in how you choose to feel about what's around you." And he's entirely right. Happiness is an act of self-awareness, looking inward and taking responsibility for your emotions. Ultimately, happiness isn't something you chase. It's something you proactively cultivate. Like the garden we mentioned earlier. Are you ready to start caring for that garden? To learn how to be happy without anyone else? Spend 5 minutes each day, just 5 minutes, to write down 3 things you're grateful for. They don't have to be grand or glamorous. It might simply be the smell of freshly brewed coffee, an honest conversation with someone you care about, or a quiet moment on the sofa after a long day. See, these small things hold tremendous power. This simple habit can transform your outlook on life. When you focus on what you have rather than what you lack, you start feeling more complete. And the best part is, it doesn't depend on anyone else, only you can do it. Don't forget the importance of self-care. I'm not talking about occasional indulgences, though sometimes that's necessary and wonderful, but about daily care of your body and mind. Take a walk, even just to clear your mind. Meditate a few minutes. Treat yourself to an inspiring book, or simply rest without feeling guilty. Why? Because self-care isn't selfish. It's the most valuable investment you can make in yourself. Trust me, no one else will do it for you. This is your responsibility, and also the greatest gift you can give yourself. Remember, this doesn't happen overnight. Cultivating happiness requires time, patience, and commitment. Don't expect immediate results, but trust the process. Every small step matters. Every conscious decision in self-care and gratitude practice brings you closer to a fulfilling life. Remember, happiness is a garden only you can tend. Don't wait for others to water or maintain it. Take ownership, because when you take responsibility for your happiness, you'll realize something powerful. You don't need anything or anyone else to be happy. You are enough already. And once you understand that, everything else becomes a bonus, not a necessity. 11. Strengthen your self-confidence. Let me tell you a secret that changes everything. Confidence is like a muscle. If you don't exercise it, it weakens. But when you practice regularly, it becomes your greatest strength. The best part is, you don't need anyone else to grant you that confidence. Because the truth is, you already have everything you need within. The only thing missing is for you to start exercising, awakening, and strengthening that power. Imagine you are about to step onto a stage to present an important project. Your heart races, and negative thoughts begin to creep in. What if I mess up? What if they don't like it? What will they think of me? Now, try changing the scenario. Before stepping up, you say to yourself, I've prepared thoroughly. I've given my best, and what I have is valuable. This small affirmation can change everything. Your steps become steadier, your voice calmer, because ultimately, confidence isn't about guaranteeing perfection, but having the courage to try. As Marcus Aurelius said, a person's value lies in their ability to be content with themselves. And trust me, he didn't wait for anyone's approval of his decisions. He acted based on his values, not on others' opinions. Now imagine Marcus Aurelius living in modern Rome. He wouldn't hesitate to post online just because he feared not getting enough likes, would he? Because Stoics teach us true confidence comes from acting in alignment with our beliefs, without needing external validation. Let me share a story where confidence was the main star. A few years ago, a young athlete decided to enter a national competition. Nobody believed in him. Friends said he wasn't ready and should wait another year. But he was clear on one thing. He wasn't going to wait for others to believe in him. He chose to believe in himself and dared to step forward. For months, he trained quietly, facing fears and insecurities every day. He knew he couldn't control the outcome, but he could control his effort. This made him stronger. He didn't need anyone else to tell him he could do it. He proved it to himself repeatedly. When competition day arrived, wouldn't it be wonderful if he won? But no, he didn't win. he achieved something far more important: self-confidence. It was proof his worth didn't depend on others' opinions, but on his wholehearted dedication. Now let's talk about you. How many times have you held yourself back because you felt you weren't good enough or worthy enough? Listen, you don't have to be perfect to begin. Do you know what you need to simply start? Practice positive affirmations. It sounds simple, yet it's incredibly powerful. Each day, write down something that makes you proud of yourself. It could be a small accomplishment like, "Today I dared to have a difficult conversation," or something simple like, "I stuck to my goal." These affirmations remind you of your capabilities. And the best part is, you don't need anyone else to do this for you. The next step is stepping out of your comfort zone. I'm not asking you to climb Mount Everest immediately. Start with small steps. For example, voice your opinion in a meeting, make a decision without consulting others, or initiate a conversation with a stranger. Each time you face a small challenge, you train your mind to trust yourself more, like adding another repetition to your confidence muscle. Remember, you don't need anyone's approval to feel secure in yourself. You are enough. When you understand this, you'll discover something amazing. You don't need anyone else to move forward, because the most important person in your life has always been with you. So, my friend, what small step will you take today to strengthen your confidence? Trust me, you already have everything you need to succeed. I invite you to fully embrace the power of reconnecting with yourself. Every decision you make, every step you take on the journey toward emotional independence is an opportunity to discover the hidden strength you have always carried within. Remember, you don't need anyone else to move forward, because everything you're searching for has always been within you. True freedom begins when you stop relying on external things and start trusting your own ability to create the life you desire. If you've followed along until now, please leave a comment saying, "The strength lies within me," so I know who the true Stoic warriors are who've persevered to the end of this journey. Don't forget to subscribe, turn on notifications, and like the video to not miss the amazing content coming up next. I also invite you to check out the playlist on the screen, filled with ideas, stories, and advice to help you walk through life with greater wisdom and confidence. Click on it, and let's continue this journey together. See you in the next video. Take care of yourself and continue uncovering the powerful Stoic within you.